I am a clinically diagnosed psychopath. Ask me anything. Hi, I am a clinically diagnosed psychopath, 24 male. I feel like psychopaths are very misunderstood in popular culture, and so I wanted to make this Ask Me Anything to hopefully give people a better idea of how the mind of a psychopath works, and that we're not all necessarily evil serial killers or bad people, just different. So please, feel free to ask me anything. Since psychopaths have a negative stigma attached to them, I can't provide any more proof than the answers I give. How do you interpret being a psychopath? Like, which attributes of being one do you feel like makes you different than everyone else the most? Is the psychopaths can't be empathetic thing true? Since I was quite young, I realized that I experienced the world differently than other people. As a kid, I just took all of that for granted and thought that everyone is like me. Biggest thing is probably emulating emotions and emotional reactions and body language. But then I found out that no, normal people don't actually fake all of that. I think emulating emotions is a huge part of what makes me different. For most things, I know exactly how I should react. So on autopilot, I've gotten used to just automatically faking whatever is appropriate in a given situation. But inside, there's a very little emotional reaction. Most of the time, nothing. Sometimes I really do feel strong emotions. Sometimes I feel what I should, just in a very weak kind of way, so I exaggerate it if other people are around. The no empathy thing is BS, at least for me. Most of all, I hate seeing innocent children or animals getting hurt. I feel strongly that that kind of stuff should never happen. But at the same time, many people that I have known have died, and I felt nothing. And many other situations where people usually do feel bad or guilty, but I just lack any of that. Empathy certainly also is like a switch. I can totally not care at all, or if I want, I can imagine myself as whoever else to feel, how they would feel. I would also say very good at lying, if I have to. Great charisma, very good at getting women, have short relationships, hard to commit. In the last year and a half, I had 7 women, one after another, with all of them getting to a point where they told me they loved me, but I just got bored. Boredom is also a big thing, shallow emotions. Thanks for the questions. Hope this gives some idea, and feel free to ask me to clarify. What about love for your parents? Do you have feelings for your mom or dad or siblings? I do care about them, and they are very important to me, but I don't love them like people usually do. Thank you for your question. When you said, but I don't love them like people usually do you think when one of your siblings or parents pass away, you'll cry and it will affect you emotionally? Or do you just care about them because that's what society tells you to do? Just curious. I think I certainly will be sad. They are the ones that made me and cared for me. I will forever love them in whatever way I can. Thanks for your question. Do you have any sympathy or empathy towards animals? Yes, I love animals, and sometimes I like them way more than people. I despise anyone who would harm an innocent animal. The angry side of me would wish people like that tortured and dead, but the rational side of me knows that they have probably had a very difficult, dysfunctional and unhappy life, and obviously they are not mentally well, and it is not their fault that they ended up with a brain that makes them hurt animals. I think I like animals because they are real and genuine, just doing their thing and living. I think that is beautiful, and nature in general is beautiful. How do you feel towards your parents? How is your relationship with them and other family members? Do you feel like they look at you differently knowing your diagnosis? I very much appreciate everything they have done for me, and we are very close. I also have an older brother and we get along really well, at least when we see each other. Actually no, I have always been a good child as far as they know. I have of course had some issues with them, but what kid hasn't? I think since I act so normally and there has been no talk of my psychopathy for years, I think it's something that they have either forgot or just avoid thinking about. And I have given them no reason to think about it. It is important to me that we get along well. Thanks for the question. How does your condition affect your relationships with people? Is it difficult to make friends? What does friendship mean for you? Are you manipulative, or have you ever caught yourself manipulating someone without realizing it at first? If so, how close you were to the manipulated person? Sorry for interrogating you like this, it may seem harsh or something, but I have bad experience with psychopathic friend of mine, and I want to understand you guys more. Certainly interesting questions. Just like everyone else, there are also many different types of psychopaths, so it's actually really easy for me to meet new people and get to be friends, but no so much as the true me. Just as being whatever person they are most likely to want to be friends with, the social chameleon type deal. Friendship to me means understanding and acceptance, trust, well-wishing, and common goals and interests. So the older I have gotten, the less manipulative I become. In regular social interaction, there are situations where I'm manipulative, but that's only if I have a very particular goal that this person can help with. But otherwise, just friends and love interests. I absolutely try to be more and more myself, or at least a more real version of myself, because I realize that there is no point to have fake relationships. I want real human connection, not to waste time on something that's not real. In my life, I have manipulated pretty much everyone at one time or another, but so have you, even if you don't know it, and your methods are different, and it's totally fine. I'm sorry you had a bad experience. Assholes come in many different shapes and sizes. I hope this helped in some way. Please feel free to ask more or to clarify. What do psychopaths think about, especially when they are angry? So as far as thoughts go, I think that is more or less pretty normal. Anything depending on what your interests are. I think about things I got to do, things I want to do, and how to do them. I think a lot about natural sciences, the universe and psychology, music and song lyrics to write. It's just a really broad topic. Anything and everything is the answer. For anger, I have always been very good at controlling my anger, because my logic always overrides my anger or any feeling or emotion. I always think what is the best for me in this situation, and anger is very rarely useful in our modern world. But true anger is strange. Like anyone who makes you angry has almost done an injustice to the world. It can be pretty blinding rage for very simple things if just left to grow and faster. But I feel angry very rarely, because I am as good as I can to people. It makes life easier. I've read that those diagnosed with psychopathy excel in career paths and are considered more cutthroat and competitive, like finances and higher up corporate positions. What career are you in? Do you feel like it's well suited to your personality? Also, thank you for these answers. As a psych major, this is very intriguing to read. So there are many different types of psychopaths. With any mental condition, there is always a spectrum. Things in nature are rarely only black or white. Some are very aggressive and cutthroat, but others not necessarily so much in that way. More calm, I would say. Overly social jobs would exhaust me. I'm great with people, but I just don't want to spend all my energy on people. Currently, I do freelance translation jobs. Fits me perfectly, as I can work from home and don't need to be around people. I very much enjoy doing stuff on my own, but I can certainly see how just doing things for yourself, not caring about stepping on anyone else to get what you want, not feeling bad about firing people, lying and manipulation. Yes, this is very useful in such positions, and I'm sure a big part of people in such positions are psychopaths, or at least have some psychopathic traits. And you are very welcome. I'm glad this is interesting to you. What is the story about how you were diagnosed? Did your doctor recognize the symptoms when you were being treated for something else? Were you motivated to see a doctor because you didn't feel normal? Was it something like if you read about and identified the symptoms in yourself and you wanted to see if it was true? Great question. So when I was a teenager, around maybe 15, I did not feel anything. So to feel something, I started taking drugs. Just the usual cigarettes and alcohol, but also benzos like Xanax and stuff like that. My mom took notice of that and sent me to a psychiatrist to see what is wrong with me. In there, we did some talking and also a long personality test, and he was talking me through it. So after a week, it was time to go back, but this time he called my mom to come with me. At first they talked, then I talked, then we all talked. Basically, he explained to me that I have a condition that makes me slightly different from others in some aspects. He tried to make it as little thing as possible, but looking at my mom, I knew something serious was going on. The doctor never even directly mentioned psychopathy to me while I was there. It was only later when my mom told me. She said that the doctor told her not to tell me, but my mom and I were very close, and we did not have secrets like that. My mom was really upset, but I said to her that I am still me, and that nothing has changed. It helped because it was true. For some years after that, I actually forgot about that and never really thought about it that much. I always thought about how I'm different, but it was not framed as psychopathy. But later at some point I started thinking more about it again, read some more books and stuff, and eventually accepted it that I must be some form of a psychopath to explain what is going on inside my head, as it fits me the closest. And it's like, fine, whatever, it's just a word. Thank you for watching the video, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.